Right, welcome to part, whatever this is, of Virtual Hereward, and our guest for right now is Simon Stokes of the Naval Wargame Society. Welcome aboard. Seems an appropriate welcome at this point.
Absolutely, yeah, particularly with the inclement weather at the moment.
It's not that brilliant here either. So, tell me a bit about the Naval Wargame Society. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so we're international society, so we've got members in the States, in Australia, all around the globe, and we support and propose war games on anything that floats, basically. So of any particular age or period or genre or scale.
And how's lockdown been treating you from that point of view?
Well, we don't really have an individual club, although we do have an annual get-together, which has been obviously postponed because of the COVID stuff. But yeah, there's plenty of presence on Facebook groups and yeah.
You've been exploring gaming virtually at all?
A little bit, but to be fair, from the naval perspective, there aren't very many commercial games out there. But yeah, it's difficult. I mean, mostly from a hobby perspective, it's all about meeting up with people. Really.
Having a natter, yeah. I suppose you've still got Zoom and the like. So,
yeah.
So anyway, moving slightly seamlessly on, hopefully, we're talking about Saga at Sea.
Yes.
Yeah, take it away, do.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can share my screen.
Right.
Saga at Sea. So this is just a little intro to say why we wanted to do it. So basically, Saga is a great game. So the version 1 of Saga, version 2 of Saga. Personally, the group that I'm involved with, we invested in Saga 1. We played Saga 1, but Saga 2 is a great game as well. Great skirmish game. But what it really needs is longboats. Really needs some longboats.
I'm not arguing there.
That's definitely from the view of a naval wargamer. And it's not just as a jumping off point. Yeah. So you see lots of games where you've got the ship in the corner of the table, and that's the starting and ending point of the warband. No, what we want is lots of them fighting at sea with a proper sea battle. Okay. So why longships? Well, Vikings fought many battles at sea, and in Saga, your warband is around about 30 or 40 figures. Yeah. Can be a little bit more, can be a little bit less. And nicely and coincidentally, that's about the size of the crew of a longship. So one longship is about a 4-point warband. So it really fits quite nicely into the genre. Okay. And having ships on the board just gives you another dimension. You see lots of Saga games where it's a couple of buildings and a couple of woods, and they all kind of look the same. So how's it work in the game? So, in the game, ships count as effectively movable terrain. Yeah, their sides are low linear obstacles, and they provide hard cover. And the next thing is, how do you move them? What's the mechanism within Saga that makes your longships move? Well, they come as an activation for the most senior commander on the ship. Okay. So we've got a little picture. We'll drop in there. Okay, that's just a picture of what's behind me. So in this picture here, you've got the commander at the back. So he's the most senior member on board, and he's the guy that effectively activates the longship. And in battle, the longships are powered by oars. I've got sails on the boats, but that's really just to make them look pretty. So you've got to work out who is rowing the boat. Yeah, and back in this picture, on the top right hand side here, you've got a little sheet that we use to track different war bands, and you see this little line down here. That's a little oar that comes with the boats, and that's saying which of those particular groups within the war band are actually rowing the boat. And the distance that they row is 1 inch for every 2 oarsmen. You need 2 oarsmen because obviously otherwise you're going to go around in circles. And those move distances can be adjusted throughout the game. Okay, how do they turn? Well, they turn at the stern. Back to this picture again. So if I was to want to turn this particular longboat, then effectively you hold the point of the bow of the boat steady, and you use your movement distance to turn the stern. And then when it's in the right angle to what you want, then you start moving him forward by the rest of the movement that you've got allowed. Okay. And ships can run aground, so you can either purposely run them aground on the beach, or there might be or it might be part of the action. I'll come on to that a little bit later. Yeah. And if you do run them aground, then you need crew to get them off again. So how do you then fight? Yeah, so fighting on board a longship, so boarding actions. So to fight a boarding action, your ship must be brought alongside its target. Yeah. So back to our picture again. If this longboat here wants to attack this one here, it's obviously turned and going to bring itself alongside, and then part of the crew that are not at the oars can then attack the defenders. Okay. So that then just becomes a straightforward Saga skirmish combat. Okay. The only thing that's slightly different is that if you win that melee, then the attackers are allowed to move forward onto the opposition's ship. Okay, and whilst you've got armed enemy aboard your ship, you can't move because you've got. It takes a very brave person to start rowing a boat when you've got someone standing over them with a sword.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah. So other things you can do, and how do they work in the game? So one of the things that they used to do in historical battles, particularly the larger ones, was they used to strap the longships together. Okay, and they put them together side by side, and that created a mutually defensive position where crew from any of the boats could move to the other boats as crew attacked them, and that's got a little artistic representation of one of the more famous battles there, just to give you an illustration. So clearly the defenders are these guys here where all the longships are strapped together, and the attackers are all coming in under oars.
Well, I guess, of course, being strapped together means that you present fewer available boarding opportunities.
Absolutely, yeah. So the way that the other thing that's unique about Saga is the battle board system. Okay.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
So what we've done is I've produced effectively another column for the battle board, which are specific Saga at Sea attributes, and I've done one of these for every single type of dice that you've got. So this example here is for the Irish, although it will work. You use it for either the Irish or the Scots because they're the ones that have those Celtic dice. Okay, and just to give you an example, so you've got slaves at the oars, so it's fairly cheap. One, you can use any of the Saga dice, and that just gives you effectively extra movement because you've got slaves rowing your ship. Okay, and expensive one might be the hard rain, so a couple of snake dice, and what that does is there's a heavy downpour, and it renders missile weapons other than hand-thrown weapons unavailable for one turn. So that affects everybody in that turn. So what that gives you is it doesn't give you any extra Saga dice, although you should save a couple because you've got people at the oars. But what it does do is it gives extra usage for the Saga dice that you've got. Okay. Next thing is around the models themselves. So there's lots of different manufacturers that make 28mm style longships. So you've got Revell that do a nice model.
It's an old classic, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's some really nice builds of them.
I think there's one sitting on the shelf behind me, actually.
Yeah.
I know there's a Sarissa one sitting in the cupboard next door as well.
Yeah, and yes. So Adrian's Walls do a nice resin one. That was the picture I showed a little bit earlier in the presentation. But I think the Sarissa ones are perfect for this because they're big, they're quite wide, they're sturdy, and they're relatively cheap. So you can field more than two ships aside.
Okay. I've not built mine yet. What are they like to build?
They're relatively easy. I think you can make a better job of them than I have. There was. I don't know whether you're familiar with them. There's a guy called Dickie Bird that does lots of kind of blog spots, and he built one and made an absolutely lovely job of it, much beyond my own capabilities. Okay. So, any questions for Michael? Anyone else?
Well, me? Well, where can I get this if I want to download your rules expansions and your battleboard extensions?
Yeah, so I actually uploaded them as a file onto the Saga Facebook group, so you can download them from there, and obviously make a copy available to download from Hereward if anyone wants to download them.
That's great. I think it's brilliant. I assume you've had some playtesting time with this, have you?
Yeah, we did it at campaign last year, and we've done it at the last year at our War Games NWS get together. So for the public, we just use a very cut down battle book, so it's effectively just the first column. But if anyone sees us at any of the shows, and if we come,
if such things don't happen again,
get together physically again, and you want to play the full fat version, then obviously let us know.
Oh, that's fabulous. So who gets the credit for this little rules edition then? Is this one of yours or?
Yeah, no, I just pull it together in Microsoft Office.
Yes, that's brilliant. I really like that. I'm going to point some of our guys at it because we have. I think we were counting up the other day at the club, and we have something like 12 longships between us of various makes. So and there's an awful lot of people putting together Saga warbands. So clearly once we get to the point where they'll let us congregate again, I think we're going to have to give this a go.
Yeah.
It does look kind of fun. Oh, thank you ever so much. That's brilliant. As I said, so we will make sure the links to this are up on the show site along with this video, and if anybody wants to ask Simon or his team questions, then if you go and find the YouTube version of this video, which will be linked from all the other posts on Facebook and the show site, there will be a chat to go with the video, and I'm sure Simon and was it Rob? Was your
Rob, yeah,
partner in crime will be happily sitting on there and willing to ask any more questions you've got.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you ever so much.
Cheers, Mike.